All right, welcome to the second video of corporate level strategies. And on this video, I want to talk about vertical integration. So what is vertical integration? This is when a company decides to expand its operations either backwards or forwards in the industry. What does that mean? It basically means that either we're going to do an operation that's typically someone else is doing for us in terms of suppliers or in terms of clients. In other words, it's like you're bringing a piece that someone was doing for you and you decide that you're going to make it on your own. So let's start by backward vertical integration. Now, this is when a company decides to produce its own inputs, decides to produce the things that it normally needs on its own operations. Typically, a company obviously will have suppliers and it will have clients. In this case, we are the company in green in the middle, and backwards vertical integration means that you're going to start doing the operations that your supplier typically does for you. And I think a perfect example of this is Netflix. Netflix used to be just a streaming service, but now they have their own content. They produce their own content. And this is an example of them becoming their own suppliers. They did backwards vertical integration. Forward vertical integration, on the other hand, is when the company uses, distributes, or sells its own products, and therefore it skips one of the steps that typically another company would do for them, right? So that means that in this case, in a way, we're going to become our own clients because we're going to take part of an extra step that it would take. There's many examples of this. For example, Amazon opened their own stores, which allowed them to sell directly to customers rather than other businesses, for example, like Samsung that sells a lot of its products through other retailers. But for this example, I decided to go with the company Amazon and their concept called Amazon Go, which is a physical store where you can buy products, and it's linked to your Amazon account. Check out online. The concept is super interesting. They don't have many locations, but I think it's quite fascinating. Now, here what Amazon decided to do is to do their own, they're already doing their own, obviously their own distribution, but here they decided to go a little bit further and actually do the directly with the contact. So having the company not rely on a distribution company, for example, to deliver the products, but rather to be the ones that give the product directly to the customers. And I think it was a very interesting concept. I hope they expand more. Vertical integrations have many benefits, and the first big one is that it increases product differentiation because it allows you to basically understand what are the needs of the clients further down the supply chain. It lowers costs as well because now you don't have to pay commissions, for example, to your suppliers. Rather, that commission stays with you, so it allows you to actually achieve better costs. Another advantage is that it reduces the competition because now you are more independent, let's say. But you should only do this in a couple of specific situations. Vertical integration only works when one of the following characteristics is in focus. Focus number one is it only works if your desire is to improve efficiency of the overall business. Okay, that's the first option. Option two is when your focus is to protect the product quality. And option three is to improve scheduling. So what do we mean with this? For example, in terms of work efficiency, you should only get a vertical integrated company if it allows you to achieve better costs on your product. In other words, if you know you can do it cheaper. Option two is you decide to do vertical integration because that way it allows you to better protect the quality of the product you will deliver to your customer, even though it might be more expensive, but you are protecting that quality. Option number three is because you don't want to be dependent, for example, on suppliers to deliver the products that you need on time. So you decide to open it. You know it's going to be more expensive. You know that probably the quality will not be as good, but maybe you're going to do it because it will allow you to get the necessary products when you need. And this might be the key ingredient for you. So this is the three situations where you should only use vertical integration. So vertical integration also has some problems, obviously. First of all, it increases your cost structure because you now have more employees, more departments, and a completely new business to do that you never did before, and this will mean higher costs. Second, it can have disadvantages in cases of rapid technological change. So if you're working on an industry, for example, that technology changes very fast, not only are you in a new business that basically you don't know much about, but also the technology is changing at the same time. So this is a double disadvantage. So therefore I would not I would not say don't do it. I would rather say be careful. Third disadvantage is it can be a huge disadvantage if you have cases of unpredictable demand. In other words, you cannot predict how many clients or how many sales you're going to have. Again, this can be a disadvantage. And finally, to finish, is the concept of vertical disintegration. Now, vertical integration is expanding operations. Vertical disintegration is the opposite. And many companies have done this in a very successful level. Why would they do it? Well, first of all, vertical disintegration is when a company decides to exit certain industries, either forward or backwards in the industry value chain, in order to focus on what their core business is. And I think no company has done better than this than IBM. Now, IBM had two major businesses, production of laptops, of the computers, and their consultancy services in terms of building softwares. Now, they understood that on these two, they had a huge potential on software development, but the computer industry was getting more and more competitive, and it would take more and more energy to make less and less profits. So they made a choice. They decided to actually exit the laptop industry at the point where it was still profitable, and to focus their sole attention on their consultancy services, on the service component that they had. And this worked very well. They were able to expand much more, and they have now an industry and a business that is much less competitive than, in my opinion, it would have been if they decided to stay as well on the laptop industry. So to summarize, vertical integration is when we expand businesses either backwards and forwards to our suppliers or to our clients, but it should only be done when one of the three criteria are met. Either you're trying to improve efficiency, you're trying to protect your product quality, or you're trying to actually increase the scheduling of the delivery of things that you need. Apart from that, vertical integration sometimes is not a good idea, and actually the opposite might be vertical disintegration that will allow you to focus on only what you do really well. Okay, that's it for this small video. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll see you on the next video of this mini series.